And welcome back, everybody. It is time for our next semi-final. Yes, that is right. We've got Hebuska and friends up against FIGJAM here, in which would be quite possibly one of the most packed semi-finals of the entire evening. A great best of three here lined up as we continue day 2 of the online qualifiers here for the League of Legends Oceanic Championships here in Season 3. My name is still Pastry Time, and I'm still joined by Papa Smithy. Papa, how are you feeling about this game, man? Because we kind of looked at it last night. We're looking at what matches we might get. This is one we were hoping to get, and oh boy, is it going to be a spicy one.
It is going to be fantastic. This is one of the ones that stood out as a potentially great match. Obviously, it needed both teams to win their 5th round, but this is one that we kind of put a gold star next to and said, this should be a really competitive, interesting game. Because we've had our fair share of one-sided games. The last game actually was a really good one. It was unfortunate we couldn't finish that series, but this should be a fantastic series.
Yeah, we're going to go all the way through here for this best of 3, and what a series it should be. And remember, this is the cutoff to top 16. Nobody's quite there yet in the finals, which of course will bring you a series. We should bring you a series 4 as well. That's just for seeding, which is important still, but you've made it at that point. You don't have to worry as much if you do lose, because you still got a chance to make it through to packs. One of these teams is going home today, and it's this best of 3 that determines that. And I think you can already see these two teams might have a bit of an idea of what's going on. Zach Tryndamere and Shen, the bands out there for Hebuska and friends on the left. Yes, I believe that is correct. And FIGJAM on the right there. Lisa and Kennen and Jace, their bands up there. But the first pick, Elise, going to start things off.
Yeah, and we're seeing some very high-tier picks. I mean, the one kind of deep cut is Tryndamere. Tryndamere can be... He's just like the ultimate solo queue handful, because he'll just split push all day, then he has multiple tools to get away. So, not fun to deal with. Clearly a Tryndamere pro on the FIGJAM side, so ban it out.
And with that, Rumble's actually going to get picked up here as well as Thresh. Now, Thresh, definitely a champion that makes sense. We've actually seen Thresh draw bans, even as well. Very powerful support champion. If you watched the Avant game before, Blit tore through people with his Thresh skills, and it was great to watch. But Rumble, a champion that once upon a time was viewed as almost incredibly too good, probably, and still a fine champion for sure, but kind of interesting to see he get picked up so early here.
He has a lot of laning issues now. Before it was, just use your WQ abilities, use the scrap shield to get in for the flame spitter and get a lot of damage. And now you have to manage your heat a lot more effectively to be able to trade at just, a slightly nerfed version of before. So it's a bit more situational to have the same lane dominance he used to have, but most importantly, the equalizer is the same, and the equalizer, probably the best ability in the game. I mean, up there with Destiny, with Stand United, all those other fantastic ultimates we know about, but if you get the right equalizer down, it just wins the fight for your Pastry Time.
Yeah, and it's certainly the best thing about Rumble. It is quite the ultimate, as you said, quite possibly probably in top 3, top 5, but very, very good, and probably one of the best, if not the best, reasons to pick Rumble for your team. So that is what's going to go in there for the FIGJAM boys. Caitlyn Nunu picked up here, probably not as a bottom lane, probably going to see Nunu back in the jungle, but, I mean, they had a couple bans here. Obviously, Kennen and Jace had to get out of there. Nobody really wants to play Lee Sin, and, some kind of meta bans almost with Zach and Tryndamere here. Shen just getting, I guess, a respect ban. Nunu has made it through here. That is going to be the champion. Sadly, I don't think that's going to be a Heimerdinger, but I'm very excited that it's there. Thank you, guys. And Nasus is locked in here. Look, you know what? I do love me some Heimerdinger. But, we'll never know. Hey, as I said, if it ever gets locked in, I'm sure I will go just as crazy as that one fateful day. But for right now, thanks for the message, guys. I get it. I do love Heimer. Oh man, we're actually getting kind of close.
Why do you let yourself just go through the agony of this?
Just when I was thinking about it, and of course Rusty. The shout out as well. For those of you who don't know, by the way, I do kind of love Heimerdinger. If you haven't seen that video of the game where we actually saw a Korean team pick Heimerdinger, I suggest you go check it out on YouTube after this game, of course. In fact, after this tournament, because we've still got great matches to bring you as well. But yes, whenever people know I'm casting, especially here in the Oceanic scene, I know I have a soft spot for Heimerdinger, so he pops up every now and then in Champ Select. Ooh, that's interesting. So, Yi actually could be a pick here, but that would be curious, to say the least.
AP Master Yi against this team would be risky. I mean, they only have one interrupt. I don't know. I believe only one interrupt for Meditate here, so that could be quite strong. But let's wait out the picks here and see what they end up with.
Ooh, and he's pretty sweet as well. I'm happy to see that one.
And he's a Rusty special as well.
So. That is, yes, a Rusty special.
But why wouldn't he pick it for himself?
I'm not sure. Maybe he just really wanted the Heimerdinger troll. And they've got Jarvan now as well. So, I mean, Jarvan we've seen some of today, certainly a powerful jungler, very versatile, kind of does a lot of things reasonably well, but nothing great, but is always a good asset to your team. Definitely rides the line of support utility slash bruiser jungler. So kind of has that unique spot in there that makes him such a great jungler to pick up. We're seeing Nasus here again. Apparently a pick that a lot of these teams still like in the jungle, still wanting to play with. And Lux is actually going to get played here for, I think, the first time that we've seen, although that may be incorrect. We may have seen Lux once more already.
I believe there was one Lux yesterday. I mean, still very strong. She's had a little nerf. She doesn't have the 36-second cooldown on Lucent Singularity anymore. And the AD carry was the last pick, and it looks like we're going to see Tristana.
And Tristana's one we actually have seen a couple times this weekend, for whatever reason, but is a reasonably strong AD carry. Certainly with Thresh can get very aggressive if you want to, and as always with Tristana, that range is absolutely fantastic. And you get to late game, you're definitely going to outrange Caitlyn. You're just so good with that, the Q steroid, they're giving you so much attack speed, the rapid fire, sorry. And Tristana, I mean, if you can navigate kind of an awkward mid game, but either having a good early game or just farming up and being protected, then you'll have a great late game when it comes to it all. And I think Blade of the Ruined King, really an item that pushed Tristana kind of back to a point I should say, where her mid game just didn't feel nearly as clunky. And for that reason alone, I think Trista's picked up a little bit more in play as a result. And it is definitely a favorite of a lot of players as well.
Yeah, and Thresh obviously complements her early game burst because he has his own CC measures, and the ability to combo that with the Tristana rocket jump and explosive shot can be really strong here. But the one thing I take away from the FIGJAM comp here is that they are perhaps the worst team you could ever contest a Dragon against. Like at Dragon especially, that combination of the box, the equalizer, all of Lux's CC, and of course Nasus activating his ultimate, it is just complete terror. Like in the Korean scene, it's always seen, if a team picks Rumble, that means they want Dragon control just because the equalizer is so good on its own. But a 99% slow from the box, let alone everything else, I'd stay away from Dragon if I was Hebuska and friends.
Yeah, and not to mention, of course, we did see a little gimmick Dragon done yesterday on day one, actually, in our first round. Nasus just happily soloing it up if he wants to as well. So they even have that option. Nasus very, very good at Dragon. So that's all these good things here. And I think you're right. I think the early game, especially around that first objective that we usually see being taken, I guess, apart from towers. But in terms of big neutral minions, certainly split between Dragon and Baron. Dragon is often a very popular one early on. So we'll see how that all plays out. Definitely some curious choices here. Like, obviously some personal preferences. Like Annie is, as you said, a Rusty special. That's a champion that still very strong, still kind of does exactly what.
And look, she's been recently buffed. We forget that her Tibbers is now probably one of the best abilities. It's a beast. Like the damage wasn't changed, but the resists and the health is so high that you can tank turrets forever with that Tibbers. So it does open that flexibility. And if she has the burst, if she can get on top of Lux, she should be able to one-shot her.
Yeah, sets up all sorts of nice stuns. Stuns come off a little easy now than they used to because you need less spells to cast, and it's all good stuff. I mean, there's a lot of good single-target CC between the solo laners here. I mean, you've got Annie's great burst and decent single-target stun. I guess you can AoE as well if you need to, but often it's in a reasonably small cone. And at least, of course, one of the best single-target stuns in the game. It is a skill shot, but Cocoon, if you land it, it's pretty hard for the enemy to get away. And so it's kind of interesting to see two strong, almost burst-oriented laners here. And then we have... Wait, that's support Elise. Everything just... Wait, what is going on? Are they playing support Nunu?
It's support Nunu.
Okay.
He has exhaust.
You got me. It is support Nunu. I was thinking this whole time.
A good lane. I mean,
yeah,
it has been slightly nerfed, but still that same steroid.
I mean, we have seen Nunu Kate with Nunu in the jungle and extra support. Yeah, you're right. Nunu Kate's just fine. I guess I probably should have realized when they picked Jarvan, but yeah, all right. They're going to run the old Nunu Kate here.
And I guess the big thing for me here with the Annie pick, I like the pick against Lux and lane, but look at how many Annie has very linear engage. Like basically, she has to flash ultimate every time, so the early distortion boots wouldn't be surprising here. But, flash ult is what, maybe 900 range or so? Look at how much slows and disengage there is on the FIGJAM side. It's hard to see too many situations, barring a flash over a wall, where Annie's going to hit the perfect tippers here.
Yeah, that's true. And when you have a linear champion like that, as you described, it's... Even if they didn't have the disengage, which, as you noted, they do have a lot of good tools there, you kind of know what the plan is. So unless there's some really, really precise, really quick play from Rusty Zanny, which he's certainly capable of, then it is going to be difficult, especially if they maybe fall behind a little or just can't group early enough to take advantage of their good single-target CC.
I mean, who is Annie going to tip as realistically? Tristana and Lux, two of the longest-range champions in the game. Like, unless she's super ahead or they pull off a fantastic flank maneuver, it's going to be hard to tip as the priority targets.
Sure. I mean, blood boiling in and Annie is a little better as well, so there is that. But I guess you can blow up Thresh if he's a little too far forward. But, I mean, the thing about Annie, especially as you describe in comps like this, is you're more capitalizing on mistakes and using your good early laning to great effect here. So I think it feels like, apart from the fact they've got Nunu Kate as a little bit of late game insurance, that they're going to want to be very active early and try and be really aggressive in their lanes. And when you have champions like Elise, have champions like Annie, I think that's almost always going to be the case, especially with a jungle like Jarvan, who definitely can err on the side of aggression if he feels like it.
Be interesting to see if Nunu starts Consume here to do a quick double golems, because obviously with Consume they can actually get double golems before any creeps die. But the one thing that does reveal is it makes him very weak level 1. Basically, he'll have one of the buffs from consuming the golem, because of course Consume now has those passive bonuses, but he won't have anything to help with the trade bar, a bit of a self-heal.
Yeah, and then, the other two skills obviously much better in lane, either by debuffing or steroiding your AD carry. So they might do it. I mean, I think he'll probably pick a skill late. That seems to be correct here. But I mean, you thought the double golems were gone, Papa Smithy. You were wrong. They're still here. I mean, he'll hit level 2 reasonably quickly.
Have a lot of fun with them.
You can indeed. Good old Nunu. I mean, they might even go a little deep in that, but we'll have to see. Nunu does some cool stuff. Consumes a neat ability. But we are going to see Hebuska and friends move out. Now they are on the blue side here for this first game. This is the first game in this best of 3. We are in the semi-finals here as we try and cut to top 16. The team that wins this best of 3 will get to go to the top 16 and then play their finals for seeding as we move into the cut to top 8. And then, of course, the final cut to top 4 later in the week and next weekend. But right now, these two teams still battling for their tournament life here in this best of 3. Got an extra chance, I suppose, because, of course, you have to go at least 2-0 in order to get anywhere. Porky instantly flashes out of the way there as well. Throws out the cocoon. Does miss just by a little, but dodges the light binding and getting a little bit of extra move speed by switching to spider form. And looks like this is going to be a very successful start off here, because nice pink ward there being thrown down, and I think this blue buff is probably not long for this world. They might try and come back and fight it, but Kate's a very long way away from walking back up, although is now making their way back up, and that pink ward going to deny any attempt at getting vision, unfortunately.
And if they stay here, that's almost 100% a sign that there will be a lane swap coming out.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Minions have spawned.
So it looks like we are just going to move towards the other blue buff. This is, I think, the most common reaction. I would be curious to see that if Rumble is the one going down, if he pops in and tries to see if he can disrupt them at all. But I mean, if Hebuska and friends play this smart, they'll keep everyone they can here just to make sure they can secure this blue, much like FIGJAM are doing here, trying to secure the other blue. So this seems,
I think Rumble's smart enough then to face check his own blue.
Oh, sure. But you could, walk around the top in that little right entrance there, which he might do now, but then maybe he'll just leave it alone. In fact, it doesn't even matter. Wombless has already took it. Smite actually happened as well, so he could take it extra quickly, and he's going to leave a minion there. What a jerk. He's not even playing Nunu.
And he got Consume help from Charlie, of course, on the Nunu.
Nunu.
That was why it was almost an instant nuke down.
Wow, that was very fun. I didn't realize, that's weird. Smite doesn't do that much damage. That's Womba's happy to tank his red here and just take it.
So now I'm very worried about Elise here, page 2 time. Now, Elise, a decent 1v2 laner, but she's actually had to skill Cocoon first. She was afraid for her life, so only being able to absolutely last hit minions here, that's the only tool she has at the moment, and she won't have wave clear probably till level 3. It's probably going to be an EQW max, so she's going to be super, super weak if she's being denied CS here. But remember, it is Tristana. She does have that explosive shot passive. The lane will push.
Yeah, at least you won't get super denied. I mean, they probably want to push anyway, so it's not too bad, but you're right. And it's going to be interesting to see how long these towers last in either lane here, because when you often have these swaps, one of the measures of what's kind of happening as we approach sort of the 10-minute mark is how quickly does the first tower go down, where does it go down? Because a lot of teams, they like to do the early push, then move to another laner, push the other one down, and then move again, and push all 3 down. That was the traditional sort of push that we saw way back when from Cebu Blaze, when this sort of thing really kind of came to the forefront of at least Western League of Legends, but I think Rumble totally fine in 1v2. Obviously, Nass is coming down as well just to help out, doing this babysitting.
The Nurse did help hurt the 1v2 for Rumble, just because you can't last hit with the E ability anywhere near as easily as you used to be able to. The 45 damage level 1, not enough to last hit unless you're, super, super on form.
And Jarvan now maybe rotating as well. Looks like he might be doing some counter jungling. It's because it's always interesting to see one team seems to want to babysit their 1v2 lane, and one team always wants to take advantage of that and kind of take away extra creeps. Womber actually came in, smites the big wraith, and maybe even wrapping around towards the top here to try and get a gank off, or maybe relieve some of the pressure. Good little trade there from Porky, actually doing a nice bit of damage. Thresh says get out of the way there, flays them backwards. And Nasa's still down the bottom lane. Just trying to, again, alleviate some of that poke. Wombalicious very carefully trying to camp this up here. Nice pink ward again being placed in that brush, but looks like Jarvan's going to go all the way around. They're going to try and get a gank for at least pretty good in this situation. Jarvan could probably set up the Caesar here. They want to kill his Chist if they can, but it's going to be maybe a little tricky. Jumps on him there. There's a one way. A knock up, not quite there. Good hook there as well. But a Cocoon follows up now, so it could be a trouble for Thresh. Might have to get out of the way of this one. Tristana coming back in. Good play there to knock them both back. I think they're going to be okay here as well. Yes, they will. With a couple of pokes from Tristana there. Even Lux rotating up now as well, just to make sure that they can't go in. And Wombalicious, nice attempt at a gank there, but not quite going to get it done, unfortunately. And everybody stays safe for now, still nil all.
Yeah, see down bottom lane, more wave clearing, more pushing from Nasus. Trying to babysit Rumble through this early laning as much as possible.
Yeah, just get him a few more levels, and then, he can maybe spam down the creep as a little more with Flame Spitter, and everything's
exactly.
good.
When you have that level 3 Flame Spitter, at least then you can AoE down waves, because otherwise the half minion damage makes it super hard to do so.
Yep, and he rotating down as well. One of the unfortunate things, especially at these early levels, and he can't really knock down a creep wave all that quickly. Actually looking for this is the old school Reginald gank here. I guess he doesn't have teleport. Wrapping around the back of this turret, trying to get in for a kill. Doesn't quite have Tibbies yet, but still has plenty of damage. They are definitely going for a tower dive here, but Riolu does know what's up there.
You might wonder why he decided to show that he had that knowledge. It's because the ward was just about to expire.
Yeah, and looks like the top tower is going to go down. Unleash getting jumped on again. Knocked down to very low health. Does not die, but is going to have to give up this top turret, unfortunately. And Jarvan way too far away to probably help things out. Might take one more minion wave, but I don't think Jarvan can stop this. And just trying to explosive shot. Going to push this down with relative ease.
And Nasus is basically being a 2v2 laner, which, that's just something we see more and more as you start to watch other scenes. That's basically...
Oh, Wombalicious could be in trouble here. Flay back there as well. Damage coming out from Tristana. Does manage to EQ combo.
Not enough to finish him off, though.
No. One more level might have made the difference, but tower does go down. Mission accomplished there. And FIGJAM take the first turret out. And I think, given all the defense Nasus has, and look, he immediately walks away. He's like, okay, we got the turret. We're fine. We can rotate people now if we need to. In fact, Rumble's recalling. You may see that exact rotation here. And just let Rumble get the empty farm in the top lane with his tower still up.
We check CS values. Slight advantage for Caitlyn down bottom. Both 1v2 lanes doing okay. And a slight advantage for Rusty in the mid lane.
So, as I said, Annie, definitely a dominant laner. Very, very scary. Has a great auto-attack range and auto-attack animation for you to last it with. If you want to save up your stun, of course. Last hitting with your Q, Disintegrate, always nice as well. The only problem, though, is when Lux rotated up there. Annie, she's good in a roam, for sure. Her kit is really good at helping you gank. Setting up ganks or just having burst in a kill to try and secure it. But, unfortunately, until a lot of AoE happens here, and it actually is maxing Disintegrate first, interestingly enough. It's hard to AoE down the minions fast enough to really push when Lux actually roams away if she decides to do that. And that's what I noticed before.
Disintegrate max suggests that's what she wants to try and do, but you're right, the kit, she doesn't quite have instant wave clear like some other champions do.
Does do good damage as well, Disintegrate. I believe it actually does more at max rank than
I think it does 10 damage more a level, from memory.
I think so. I'm sure we can check that when they get ranked up, but yeah, it does a little bit of extra damage, even though I think the way the cooldowns work out, it's pretty close to equivalent.
Well, it doesn't have the mana back, so you have to watch your mana usage.
Yes, there is that too. But yeah, it seems like wanting to pressure Lux a little more if she's going to leave lane like that. Although the game is definitely going to open up a little more now. Very quick. Here it comes. No, maybe not. Nasus thinking about it.
Well, the first ward was cleared in vision of Nasus, so they are kind of suspicious at this point.
Yeah, Lux going to rotate down as well. It could just bring the whole team in. Rumble's leaving close to mid. Ward there from Lux as well. Here we go. Pink ward, activate Fury of the Sands, and Lux is going to help with a little bit of damage as well. Even shielding up Nasus there as well. And there's, honestly, especially even without Rumble there, it's kind of hard for Hebuska and friends to really stop this. And Rusty might check it. Unfortunately, not even going to try the crazy blind flash over, but he might not have even got the dragon as a result. And that's a nice pick up there for FIGJAM, making sure they get that dragon. And again, we do see that they quit level 6 for Nasus. Just picks up the dragon.
2 global objectives so far for FIGJAM here. They are definitely winning the early game.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the best measure, given there's been no kills in this game. 1 tower, 1 dragon. Put them up about 1,000 gold or so. Looks like bottom lane. They've rotated back down here. The bottom lane probably going to try and push on this bottom turret now. I'll just lane them. Tristana, this is kind of one way, in a weird way, to navigate Tristana's early game a little. Although, to be fair, she's actually fine in a 2v2, because you can, especially with someone like Thresh, you have a lot of kill potential with Tristana. But, if they're just pushing and able to create space in lanes, good hook there, actually. They're going to go in. Cocaine plays them back in there as well. Exhaust comes out. We'll have to flash out of the way. Rocket jump in there as well. But Wombalicious completely obliterated there as first blood goes to Tristana.
Yeah, just very great play from Cocaine and Blue 9-0 there. I mean, the one thing about navigating Tristana's early game, if you manage to have a first item Bilgewater Cutlass, I mean, Tristana's kit's always have been about early game burst transitioning into a late game standard AD carry. Just more burst coming out from the Cutlass.
Yeah, which is kind of what I meant to say when I meant play the Ruin King. Kind of alleviates the awkward clunkiness in mid-game. Doesn't erase it by any means. In fact, Cocaine could be in a little bit of trouble. Charlie 101 going in the box. Beautifully placed there, but one more auto from X-Truffle will do it. And that is the dead
no
fresh
mana
there.
on Blue 9-0 is the thing. That you think with red buff and the level advantage you'd be fine, but no mana.
No mana at all. So just left to die there, unfortunately. Of course, all the resources for Cocaine used earlier when that tower dive on Jarvan, but a nice equalizing kill there. Charlie 101 did use the ult there, but Tristana forced to flash out as a result, so pretty happy with that trade there.
And Riolu on Rumble at this point just wants to split lane with Elise. Elise in a 1v1 situation kind of destroys Rumble, so the fact that he's keeping up in CS, he's more than happy, because we all know about the team fight monster that is Rumble.
Yeah, as you said, Equalize is a pretty good ultimate. So want to make sure they get the value out of it that they can. Blue buffs now for both mid laners as well. But it looks like for the most part, had trouble. I think both of them have wanted to either kill each other or roam and kill other lanes, but they've both been doing a pretty good job of clearing out the waves. Now with blue buffs, it's going to be even easier, and they're staying reasonably even in CS. Ross is up by about 15 or so as Nasus down the bottom lane. We're going to make something happen there with the Wither. Goes in there as well. Fury of the Sands activated. A little bit of damage came out, bit of extra range. One rocket jump for Twitch, he has it, but there the auto attacks coming in as well. Good slow there from Charlie 101, but they could dive here. Nasus very tanky with his ultimate on, but damage coming out. The Lantern will extract him if he needs to, and there it is. And Rumble at the top lane now getting ganked in there as well. Jarvan up here, at least in here as well. And Riolu, he was having fun before just CSing, but this is not what he planned for Annie's down the bottom there as well. Rumble
and he goes for the great escape.
He is going to wrap all the way around all the trees. I think he's going to be safe here. Jarvan tries to find him, almost does it as well. But yeah, it looks like he's going to be able to get out of this one. One tower hit, almost too many, as the bottom tower goes down there as well. 4 members of FIGJAM. Rumble, of course, the only one flanning himself a way out there. Does manage to get out there.
And in smart buy, it turns out to be the Sork boots, right? That extra 25 move speed probably saved him.
I'd have to say so. Good death sentence there. So Rusty could be in trouble. Flame back in there. So Shaffer lined up for a beautiful final spark. And the last kill there on Caitlyn as well happens as Blue 9-0. That was an absolutely ridiculous play.
Sometimes it all lines up, Pastry Town.
It really does.
That was explosive.
And this, I get it, because Tristana.
No, I mean, it just was explosive.
It was.
No need for a pun when it's that awesome.
But it's nice to have it anyway. Bubblegum's going to get taken away because, hey, why not? Might as well get a bit of extra CS. Can't quite convert any more pressure onto that tier 2 turret in bottom, but hey, they'll take the bit of damage they got, and they'll definitely take the couple of kills they are ahead now. So that Dragon plus the 2 extra kills and the 2 extra towers, definitely piling up to a lot of global gold here. Got about 3.5k in the lead, or 3.5k. So Rumble comes back. Double amp turn even, so I guess Hextech Revolver's on the way.
Yeah, starting to see some big items being finished here. We have the Things on the Holy Grail in mid. Play the Ruin King importantly on Caitlyn, as you say. Help navigate that sketchy early game. Yep. Whereas the big item's still underway on the Hebuska and Friends side. Still the components of a Rod of Ages, and still the components of a Haunting Guise, and what you have to assume will be an Infinity Edge on Caitlyn.
Yeah, so if Tristana wasn't scary before with that Bork, it's really scary now if she tries to 1v1. Her spells are still doing decent damage at this level, and that's a very, very fast play of the Ruin King. So
the one thing that Hebuska and Friends cannot do is try and compete for the next dragon. Please listen to this. Be ghosting for some reason. Do not do that, because it will that'll be bad.
And have a time machine and be 3 minutes in the past.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, all those pink woods.
The future's probably about when Dragon spawns. That's unfortunate.
And now, of course, with all the pink wards down, there's plenty of vision around the area for when Dragon does pop back up. And as you said, there's so much control here of Dragon already on the team. And they kind of did it with Nasus for the first one anyway. So,
I mean, Annie's Worm here, largely muted. Like, she's tried. We've seen her in the bottom half of the jungle a few times, but just never been able to get that Tibbers down.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Annie, as you said, a very linear sort of champion. That's kind of all as it's written on the tin. As we do have a pause here. One player might have an issue or two, but that's okay. Apparently, Rusty was having some computer issues before, so that could be what it is. But we'll wait it out. Hopefully it doesn't wait too long.
This is actually on the FIGJAM side, so...
Well, there you go. So hopefully they don't have computer problems either. Sadly, not being able to see chat means I can't see the pauses. But this is what you're for.
A summoner has disconnected.
There we are.
So disconnects. Interesting to see. Cocaine's gone a very... he's gone kind of a solo queue start, greedy start, I guess you could say. He's gone the double GP10, even on Thresh, who doesn't really need the mana regen at all from the Philostone. You know, he'd be quite happy just keeping a Rejuve beat around. He gets the free AP already, but I mean, more AP for more damage in the box is nice. But clearly, he's just they've done so well in lane that he's happy to not have that Sightstone early or the Ruby Sightstone early, not be quite as strong in team fights, but potentially have one big item later on in the game.
Yeah, I mean, comparing it to Nunu right now, I mean, he just has his Ruby Crystal, and, there's 2 GP10 plus the Ruby Crystal, which will quickly be at least a Sightstone, if not the Ruby version pretty swiftly. So, I mean, all that global gold that adds up, there's that Dragon and those 2 towers, plus the kills and assists he's been involved in. In fact, he's been involved in all 3 kills that are on the board there as well. Certainly, Thresh kind of has, just an embarrassment of riches almost in terms of wealth for a support. And yeah, I mean, it's nicely timed. It is definitely greedy, all right, but I think completely justified this game. And it's weird to talk about supports as snowballing, but that is, I guess, the support equivalent of snowballing is when you can afford these GP10s and still time your Sightstone reasonably.
I'm going to avoid the obvious Nunu joke here.
I love Nunu so much. Every time with that joke.
You talked about support snowballing.
I did. I did indeed. It's so hard. Alright, so back to live we go.
Yep, just skipping to live.
It's one of those unfortunate things with the pauses. You and I certainly don't want to get out of sync.
Nope.
And it looks like Rusty is going to stun up some creeps, bit of damage onto Nasus as well, but it feels like FIGJAM are really ready to do something this game. They've had a decent early game, they've collected a lot of global gold here. They're not massively ahead, but they're certainly ahead, and they must feel the strength and the confidence here. I mean, one fight here can definitely go wrong, but they've got Rumble, his ultimate's ready. They've got, especially Tristana just has massive item already with a quick play to the Ruin King. And, they're 5-man mid right now, definitely looking to take out somebody or at least pressure down this other turret. And Tristana, she's got some range. She certainly does. Not quite I don't think it's not quite Caitlyn level yet. In fact, currently sitting at 613 range is Tristana.
And the masterstroke of this FIGJAM comp to me is that we talked about how they don't want to compete for the second, third dragon, that the mid-game spike that Rumble and the other AoE they've picked has. The thing that you can say about that is that if you give them those things, you say, oh right, they have a mid-game spike. Tristana has the ultimate late-game spike.
Womble is just taking a good amount of poke to equalize it, trying to finish him off, but I think a little too ambitious. Blurry goes in there, but stunned up immediately by Rusty, but Lantern's out there, activates his ultimate to just get enough health to get out from under that tower dive. Beautiful play across the board there from all the players. Everybody lives on not a whole lot of health in Nasus and Jarvan's case. Those are
very greedy. Going for the flash siphoning strike, a spell that does have a certain cast time, but no kills come out of it. Womba lives on a sliver of health.
Yeah. Thanks in part to some very fast reactions all around there from both teams to protect most of the people that almost died there. But unfortunately, with Jarvan low, don't really feel too confident in going in the rest of it there, and we'll have to lose the tower, unfortunately. There's too much pressure there, too much dive potential. And Trashbird actually, I think, feels a little unlucky because he caught Porky with a light binding and got Cocoon just before he could throw out Lucent Singularity. So if Porky had actually not stunned up Lux there, and that's kind of one of the unique things about Cocoon actually being a stun, not a snare. Lux might have actually gotten a kill there, and that would have been really good to clean up Elise. But instead, they had to get the pretty high health, pretty tanky target, and even that was enough to force enough pressure to be able to take the tower and their second dragon nice and cleanly as well.
Yeah, 4.5, almost 5k gold lead. The advantage of just really good play. They got their objective quickly up top, they picked up kills when they could, and they've taken many more global objectives so far.
Right now, just going to go ahead and give Tristan a red buff. It's about time to make sure Trist gets a little bit more. No one else really needs it. I mean, Rumble's not really a laner for it. And Nasus, yeah, it's okay, but I think at this point you'd definitely rather have your farming AD carries doing quite well to get all this sorted out. And the towers, I think, is really going to start hurting Hebuska and friends here. I mean, Dragon is bad enough because it's just worth so much gold. But as you said, it was going to be difficult for them to contest against this team in particular for Dragons. But I think the lack of towers, I mean, they've got one, which they've got to be very happy for down the bottom lane, but especially losing a mid tower when the enemy still has theirs, it's painful. And I think Rusty really intelligently actually warded in the middle of mid just then as he walked in. You can see a ward right next to Lux right now. That's very necessary vision at this point. And those are the kind of things that you need to be aware of when you do lose your mid tower, because it's just such a big visual point for you in the game that you really do like having it around. Oh, Rusty going deep. They're looking for the stun. It does get light bound up. Not quite in range. It does stun up, but can't quite throw the rest out. And
that definitely felt like a low ping exchange.
Yeah. It did a little. I wonder if anybody lagged there. But Trashbird actually pretty tanky without Athenes. Didn't quite take that much burst. And of course, Tibbers wasn't in range at that point because Light Binding kept him just out of the harm's way. And again, like Hebuska friends definitely want to push down this mid lane, but it's kind of hard to get through Lux Rumble.
Yeah, Rumble's actually gone straight for the completed Landry's Torment here. And the reason why, and sometimes we see the double penetration items, i.e. the Sork Shoes and the Haunting Guys into a Rylai's just to ensure that people stay in the box, in the Equalizer. But the box and Nasus' CC, there's plenty of CC to combo there.
With Trouble Cataclysm, there's the Equalizer, and he might get a trade in. Porky getting burned to a crisp. Riolu picks it up. Wombalicious maybe gonna fall here as well. The Andrew's final spot just missing in there as Nasus looks for the one there with Spirit of Fire. Luxor gonna clean him up. Almost an absolutely effortless 1v2 it looked like for Riolu there. Equalizer is so powerful.
At the same time, Tristana was caught by Andy, but just not quite enough burst to take him down. The Lantern Ride, the Dark Passage does keep him alive.
Blue Nant Zero zips out of there, out through the back of Baron. Cocaine making sure he supports his AD. So a lot of action early there. It was a good dive there by Womba, but Riolu, goodness gracious, made that damage. Very nearly cleaned up everyone and walked away from it, smiling, I'm sure. But as it is, just a couple of kills there, traded back and forth. And still, I mean, it's really, I mean, the kills are fairly even, 5-2, obviously in favor of one team here, but for FIGJAM, it has to be all about those objectives, and as I guess I noted, as you keep noting, it's really, really hard to do stuff like control your jungle, which currently the AD and support are currently duoing your red buff with, if you just don't have the sort of vision here.
Well, the further snowball here, Cocaine's picked up an Oracles as well to go with the Sightstone, so he's effectively double GP10 and an Oracle ahead of his opponent, which, you know, this is one of the times where you can really feel the benefit of going this more greedy build. He probably would have been in the same spot if he'd gone Ruby Sightstone Rush into an Oracle, but so, you know, you could argue that maybe he has less health than he should given how the game's played out, but this will set him up for quite the scary late game.
Apparently, by the way, he's not interested in Sightstone. He just bought the equivalent of, like, all
10
the
wards or so?
Yeah, he's got 12 wards total. He just bought 8 extra.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, it's like, I don't want to finish this Sightstone, let's buy a bunch of wards. I don't know if he can hold them all.
It's just funny to me because he's gone from the greediness of double GP10 into the selflessness of not, you know, looking to buy a Kindle gem or something. He's gone straight for the stack of wards. Best of both worlds.
And now clearing out all these delicious lane wards. And as I said, this is actually a very important Hebuska and friends, and that's all going to get denied here. Tristana a BF sword up now as well. Kate has finished her Bloodthirster. Maybe going back for another item here, so I could see a Zeal.
FIGJAM are going to force a false choice from Hebuska and friends. And what I mean by that is they're going to clear all the vision out. Oh boy, they might even clear Wombalicious out, although he just lives. They're going to clear all the vision out, and then they're going to start a big objective. And if you face check that, we know what Rumble does.
Yeah, lots of damage here. Blue 90 can ride the Lantern out, but pretty tanky at this point for Nasus. I mean, it's either you get Rumble ulted or you walk into it, right?
Well, you get Rumble ulted or they get Baron. It'll probably be the happy, fun, you know, choice they have. That's why it's a false choice. Like, both of them suck.
They really do. Zero here using that range. Great stun there from Rusty. Almost picks up Triss. Charlie 101 gets it with a snowball. Like, okay, trying to lock down Rusty in there as well. Good knock up there from Womba. Picks up Riolu. And Porky in the back is trying to assassinate Trashbone. Ace in the hole coming through. Cocaine gets clipped there. Losing his Oracles in there as well. And that was incredible play from Annie to pick off that AD carry. It's so hard to pick up
wondering
Triss.
what it would take, Patreon. We were talking about what would it take for Annie to hit Tristana with an ultimate, and that revealed it right there. A slight positioning error. There was multiple carries right on top of each other, as we see Chuffa clear up another kill. And that momentary mistake could change the side of the game.
It really could. They desperately need this mid tower, so they should be trying to push in there. Good kill there from Chuffa behind the turret. Just have enough orders to trash, but can't pick up anything else, unfortunately. And, you know, as good as kills are, it definitely helps when you can turn them into something else, and unfortunately that's not the case. They might get a couple of wards out. Charlie 101 actually with an Oracle's cleaning through. Maybe he'll be able to clear out some of these wards, but didn't find any, unfortunately. I guess Thresh hadn't had time to place all these wards yet. But Dragon is back up. That mid tower's still back up. Neither of those objectives were unfortunately being able to pick up there for Hebuska and friends. So despite all that play, that's a bunch of resources used. Sure, you get a bunch of gold. You even it up a little more by getting some gold there and getting those kills, but really, what they're behind in is objectives. I mean, even with the kill scores being even here, 6-6, you can see that there's still a reasonably large goal discrepancy here of a few thousand between these two teams, and it's going to be the third straight dragon that FIGJAM are looking to get here.
Well, we'll see if they go for the true contest. They're considering it.
They might. I mean, Cocaine has another Oracles. It wouldn't be a bad thing to get it off there. Porky gonna get played in there as well. One malicious little too far out of the way. Very low there for Cocaine as the equalizer almost picks him up. Will get it there in the end. Charlie 101 trying to channel the absolute zero. And Elise in the back there as well gets absolutely obliterated there. Chuffer will clear out the water where he can. Maybe even get a Pilgrim of Peacemaker steal, but it does get smited up. And it's really, really risky for the rest of them to be in here. They're trying to poke down. Rusty maybe wants to pick up Cocaine. But I think for the most part they should just stay safe here. They've already lost 2 there. They did try and contest in there, but unfortunately the positioning and that death sentence a little too good there for FIGJAM.
Yeah, FIGJAM have a lot of answers to the questions we've been asking so far, Beige Time. They're really on the ball with objective control. They've picked a smart comp here that, you know, even if Tristana had been behind, they had such a strong mid game that it might have got him to that point already. But Tristana's not behind. She's ahead. So she's going to start having that Infinity Edge by the Ruin King damage combo in the next minute or 2.
I mean, what do you think of Caitlyn's item choice here? I actually think, I guess with Blood Bowl you're kind of circumventing the attack speed, but I do like that Chuff can kind of shortcut here and go from Bloodthirst to Infinity Edge. That is...
I think it's a good reaction. Again, it's completely a product of having Nunu on your team, right? That's
yes.
The reality that I wonder if it will affect Nunu's positioning, because if they start a fight with Caitlyn already having, say, a couple of seconds of Blood Boil, if he dies in the AoE, or if they don't get the refresh on that Blood Boil, Caitlyn will lose DPS in a fight.
Yes, quite significantly, actually.
And, you know, that was what the nerf did. It increased the downtime on Blood Boil. At the moment, it's a 12.7 second cooldown, and it lasts... Okay, so it's at 12 seconds, so he does have some CDR here. He is doing all right, so it's almost 100% uptime, but, again, he needs to be in range.
Yes. And, I mean, he can't reapply it if he's dead, being the thing, so... Tough going to pick up red buff here. No,
dying Blood Boil probably not going to be the worst result for the Nunu.
No. Especially if Caitlyn's been protected, maybe with absolute zero covering a lot of space there as well. Without the push coming back in here, very low. Cocaine actually a little out of position. Going to throw out the box here, but I think he's maybe going to die. Great equalizer there to try and cut him off, but Cocaine still dead there. The final spark in. Good absolute zero there from Charlie 101. Elise now in the back as well. They must kill Blue 90, but so much damage from the Tristana. Obliterates Elise. Riolu down as well, though, as he's in the back line. And Chuffer still here to do the damage. Nunu not quite alive yet, but Bobo is lasting a little longer here. Blue 90, though, probably going to 1v1 them here. In fact, Nasus in there as well with the Wither's going to make it all too easy. Chuffer may just start a Nasus trap just in the right place, but Wither going to make it difficult. Great trap. Ace in the hole in there as well. Picks up Nasus in there, and Chuffer, fantastic play to stay alive there and kite that Nasus. But probably still has to worry about Tristana, actually. Lifesteal from both these carries, keeping them up a little, trying to find a few more minions to hit.
And there was a forced bad engage there for FIGJAM. That equalizer, maybe 1 tick of damage went on one enemy, but it wasn't the equalizer they needed at all. The equalizer box is their control combo. They don't have Rylai's finish yet on Rumble, so it's only the 35% slow. They need that combo to hit, but I mean, it was an emergency box, and it was kind of just a poor follow-up equalizer. If that had been plan A, they would have wiped the enemy team, but a 4-for-4 trade is a pretty good result.
Sure. I mean, and again, I think protecting that tier 2 tower there is definitely important. So even though, again, Hebuska friends won't be able to get any objectives, they're pretty happy protecting that particular one. Kate, I'm sure, has an Infinity Edge at this point with the amount of gold she would have picked up there from those kills. So giving your case for the boot, there it is. Infinity Edge is completed now. Giving
and
that
a skill.
That's very good news for Caitlyn. I mean, we've got Infinity Edge Blade of the Ruin King finished up now as well for Tristana, so I'm actually going to tap over the gold real quick, just check. They're actually really close to being even now. I don't know what the difference was exactly before, but they're about 200 gold apart. 9,600 to 9,800 or so. Those numbers are a little different, but that's more or less the difference. So
Caitlyn at all really on the FIGJAM side, so I mean, the Last Whisper will probably be the next pickup, but not a bad time to have the Infinity Edge Last Whisper combo. So the Infinity Edge Bloodthirst combo.
No, especially with Blood Bowl and a little Zeal there for extra. I mean, it's just the Runic Bulwark there, giving a little bit of extra armor to everyone. Even, like, Nasus, I mean, he has a ninja target, but that's about it. One Bullish is going to get grabbed up here. They're probably going to take out this tower. EQ's out of the way. They do get that tower. Shuffler takes so much damage. And Equalizer Final Spark's going to finish it before anything else can matter. Charlie 101 tries to deny them there by using the absolute zero, but Hebuska and friends absolutely have to be running here. Good stun there from Rusty to try and keep Porky alive. The spider come out. There's a great death sentence. Is going to spell the end there for Elise. And everybody else trying to come in there. Wombo, I think, tried to be a hero, flashed out of the way and just got popped by the rest of the damage. And I don't think Annie and Nunu are going to be able to do a whole lot here against a full enemy team. And I guess when you're thinking about how good the Equalizer is, that was I think any other champion could really follow up on a burst from Lux there, other than Rumble, but that's exactly who they had, and poor Caitlyn died pretty much before she could auto-attack. Now Baron.
Now Charlie is thinking this is a support time to shine, but I don't think it's going to happen here.
He's getting zoned out as well there by Threat. Might even die. Final Spark getting thrown out, but won't quite hit onto Nunu.
Rumble's just such an interesting champ because he goes from, a fiercely AP top bully, very melee. He only has about 400 range on his spells into having the longest range spell in the game, basically.
Yeah.
It's not a global, but the longest, true spell, targeted spell in the game.
Yeah, and combined with Lux, it's you can pick people off from very, very long distances, just snipe people off the map. I mean, we saw Rumble Jarvan plus Kayle as the thing was something that we were excited to watch a couple of times when we've been casting around, and that was cool just because it was long-range initiation, because Jarvan, he also covers quite a decent distance with his EQ plus.
And I'd say the box, it has a lot of commonalities with Cataclysm, right?
Yes.
It's going to hold a lot of people in place, and the Rile's equalizer on top of that, it's going to be crazy damage.
Yeah, not quite as good as the fabled Crowstorm Cataclysm, but yeah, definitely the box equalizer, that sort of thing in there. I guess Lux is kind of the opposite. Instead of initiating, if you snipe somebody off, you can just combo them completely with Rumble's ult plus Lux's ult, and they are going to die. And if they're a squishy, important target like they carry, then exactly what happened there happens, and it's really, really hard for a Hebuska and friends to fight without this Caitlyn. Oh, Chuffer. Might happen again here. Yeah, there's a light binding. Final Spark off at the top. Good barrier. But I don't think it's enough. And again with the equalizer, Rumble just able to snipe it off. Charlie went on, loses his oracles there as well, as Rumble picks up the double. And this may prove to be too much here for this first game. 10,000 gold is now the difference between these two teams. And Baron buff is just gonna make it very, very tricky here. So 5-man mid is coming. 3 people to defend currently. 23 seconds left on Nunu as the next person up. 25 on Caitlyn. Which is starting here. I mean, she's almost at max range as well. A couple levels off. I think outranging Caitlyn at this point by a reasonable amount. Yes, 676 range for Trist. So plenty of siege here. Inhibitor turret going to fall very, very quickly. This may just be the beginning of the end for Hebuska and friends, at least here for game 1.
It just feels like they got outpicked, to be honest. Like they picked Annie into the combo. It is a strong champion. Oh, one malicious. It is one of Rusty's strongest champions, but I mean, he's been completely new to this game apart from the one miracle, excellently executed tip as they got on Blue 9-0.
Yeah, and unfortunately even then, they couldn't really... They got so low after that fight, they traded so many people off that they actually couldn't really leave and take an objective like they would have wanted to. And so even the moments where they were actually able to find a fight, Blue Knights are actually out of position there. Who get popped in there, but does manage to get out of the way. She's surprisingly tanky there. I think Annie's maybe not had enough fun there. Charlie 101 actually ulting there, but probably going to be a little too much. The equalizer on top of it as well. Final Spark thrown in there as well for value. Charlie 101 will get picked up there. Rioli gets that one. Good stun there actually on both Nasus and Rumble, but not enough here. It's kind of like trying to throw enough mud at a wall and hope that eventually you'll break it down, but this Baron buff, all that regen, just the golden stats that FIGJAM have, going to lead to, I think, a pretty easy win here as they close out this game. Inhibitor turret going to go down. Inhibitor will fall as well here. There's only one left, but I don't even know if they need it. Might just go straight for some turrets. Porky gets death sentence. That's almost going to spell death. Cocaine there gets popped up as well. Elise comes back down there after dodging some of that damage. Womba very low. Will get picked up there by Trish. Riolu flashing forward there to try and pick up that kill. Chuffer kiting as well as he can. Blurry will actually go down here as Rusty picked up the last hit there. Now Trashbo taking a little bit of damage. Could get poked off here. Good light biting though from Lux. Riolu looking for the follow-up as Loose and Singularity comes in. Rusty trying to get in there. Almost finds the magic, but can't quite get there as Ace on the hole will miss off in there as well. Charlie 101 looking for the slows there. They might be able to pick up a couple of kills, but Tristana down the bottom taking out the rest of the base. It might just be glory kills here at the end of the day. Tristana actually destroying the base. Now Chuffer going to get jumped on as Blue 9-0 looks to get the kill there. Will just peel them off. Maybe Porky jumped on there as well. Blue 9-0 with the double. Rocket jumps out. Rusty could be in trouble, but does shut him down.
Stars in his eyes, that Tristana. That lovely play. The two kind of feeling kills. The surrender comes out. GG, well played to FIGJAM.
Fun way to end the game, but unfortunately not quite enough there at the end. I mean, Blue 9-0 soloed the base towards the end of that game, and some nice plays all around. Definitely some solid play for Hebuska and friends, but they are going to have to dig a little deeper and try and equalize here in game 2. Otherwise, it is going to be FIGJAM 2-0 straight to the finals for them here, and they looked very, very good. For a team that we don't know too much about, although we have certainly heard some rumors, look really, really strong there. Just picked well, played a comp really well, and I don't know, it's hard to say. Hebuska friends have come far this time. They were self-described as the solo queue hero team, but we'll see if they can take it here in game 2, because that's where they're going.
She's such a misfit, always ready to brawl. It's like her business, roughing up your friends. The law, there is no difference. If you believe you're strong, she's a bulldozer, making sure you're flat on the ground. She's like a boomerang that never gives up. She flies in circles till she hits you and you're bowed in the dust. So just remember this, when she's chasing you down, face first, you'll be thrown into the proving ground. She'll knock you out. Have you ever really wanted to be a total rebel, flipping tables on the enemy? Did you ever try to further improve how fast you punch people through the roof? Oh, was there ever any certain time when you thought brute force and style combined? Well, I guess now's time to shine, 'cause finally she's here. Here comes mine. As a matter of fact, the best bet one has is to quickly react to the first attack that's taken for the beast. She'll never go back, just listen. Have you ever really wanted to be a total rebel, flipping tables on the enemy? Did you ever try to further improve how fast you punch people through the roof? Oh, was there ever any certain time when you thought brute force and style combined? Well, I guess now's time to shine, 'cause finally she's here. Here comes mine.
And welcome back, everybody. We're here for Game 2 of FIGJAM versus Hebuska and Friends here. Hebuska and Friends sadly down 0-1 here. It was a very well executed game by FIGJAM. So the players will swap sides here for this best of 3, and we will get it underway here. 1-0 up, only one more game needed for the FIGJAM lads. And of course, Hebuska and Friends must win out the series here. Take both this game and the next game if they want to advance and be in the top 16, play in their finals match for some seeding, and be that much closer to that top 4 cutoff and getting on their way to PAX. My name, of course, is FIGJAM here with the online qualifiers for the Oceanic Season 3 Championships. I'm still joined here by Papa Smithy and Papa. We had quite the good game to start this one off.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it does tell us that we've made some good selections here, but I mean, FIGJAM living up to their name, you know. I think everyone out there can at least Google what FIGJAM stands for, and a very dominating, awesome performance in the first game.
It really was. Just some really nice picks all around. A really well-built comp and just some flawless execution and objective control. We'll see if Hebuska and Friends go back to the drawing board a little, maybe tweak some of their picks. We've got Ken and Jace Lee Sin as the 3 bans there from FIGJAM. And Zach and Thresh are sticking with that Zach ban. Apparently don't want to play against that. Thresh is going to get out of there as well, so respect there to Cocaine, who played a great game on Thresh. And of course, they've got to be careful. They've got one more ban left. And, you know, the thing about 6 bans, Papa Smithy, you always have to leave something open. It's just, you know, what absolutely do you not want to have in your game? And, you know, what can you maybe afford to pick or block a pick depending on what the enemy team picks. But FIGJAM, our first pick here. So the last ban's going to make a big difference in Shen. They're going to stick with Shen again. Get that guy out of there. Don't want to have to deal with that. And Elise, I think, understandably gets picked up very quickly here by FIGJAM.
Yeah, it was Elise and Twisted Fate were the obvious champions, which from the competitive scene have navigated their way through the picks and bans here. Be interesting to see if either of those get a play.
Yeah, well, Ken and Jace have been banned, so I guess Elise is the last one left. We'll see what they want to go pick up here. Do Hebuska and Friends. I didn't hate their picks last year, but I think we both agree that it was just didn't feel maybe quite right here. And they are going to get Nunu. I think that could just be Nunu supporting it. I do believe Charlie 101's a pretty big fan of that. But of course they have Johnny here as well, which I would not put past Rusty to play as AP, but 2 fairly ambiguous picks potentially here to start things off.
Sure, they're definitely not tunneling on anything in particular. I think the Nunu pickup is a smart one just because leaving it up for the enemy team could be really bad. But I mean, changing to Sona here, probably going to see a jungle Nunu this time and see what Wombalicious can do with the aggressive counter jungling Nunu.
No, actually going to settle on Varus, believe it or not, as all things settle down. So it could still be support Nunu, could still be
it could be top Nunu.
It could, in fact, be top Nunu. You know what, let's just go all in. It could be mid Nunu. Let's do it.
No, it's not going to be mid.
Okay.
I'm calling it here now.
Okay, I believe you. Looks like Riolu might want Rumble again, though. He played that one pretty well last game. So, going to give...
Which does tell us we're going to have either a support or a jungle Elise, most likely.
Yep, and Lux again. Looks like they're going to stick with their guns for the first game. Mid-top combo worked pretty well for them. In the last game, they're just sniping off people from very, very long ranges. Had such great control there in those team fights. So, Rumble, Lux going to get locked in again. I mean, Elise is... The nice thing about first picking Elise is not only is she a powerful champion, she's very versatile, so you usually find a place to put her. You're not unhappy for her to be there, but you're right in that with these picks, we're probably going to have either jungle or support Elise now. Just, you know, 2 of the potential 4 roles that we have seen her play. And with that, Janna might actually get in here as well, which would definitely cement the jungle Nunu a little more, but who knows? Oh, what's going on now? Because Nasus is the other pick that potentially might be up here. We've got Janna and Nasus currently being moused over.
I don't even know, basically.
I'm not sure either. And now Xerath. We're just going to go all in. Maybe we're doing some sort of crazy swap, IG style, where Xerath goes mid. You know, Charlie 101's pocket Xerath just whips it out. Rise as well, another picks. So I think I'm just going to wait until see what happens. And once I settle on 2 champions, we can comment on them. Looks like it's going to be Rise and Sona here, though. So I guess that is jungle Nunu then, with Sona being picked up. And Rise for the top, potentially the mid. But likely going to be happy in either solo lane here.
Yeah, they've already revealed the solo laners on the enemy side, so it is still good to have that flexible pick, just to give yourself some ideas and also see what sort of completed bot lane we're going to get. Sticking with Tristana, sticking with what worked last time, but Zyra is the adaptation from Thresh.
Yeah, so kind of a similar sort of champion, kind of. I mean, long-range initiation, I guess, is what they mostly share in common. Zyra, a great champion. The box, not the box, Stranglethorns definitely synergizes reasonably well with Equalizer as well. Slowing them, and then you can kind of guarantee the knock-up if you place it in the right spot, so all the damage comes out and they get knocked up when it reels back in. So some similar sort of AoE there. I think the box is objectively a little more powerful than Stranglethorns, but Zyra still, they have potential to go aggressive. They've got good long-range initiation. Zyra just going to have to get to be a little bit more careful. and hope she doesn't get killed, because she is very, very squishy, and which of course means jungle Elise should be the order of the day here. And with Xerath maybe getting the last pick here, I wonder if that does mean we are going to have top Ryze. And Xerath in.
Xerath's an interesting pick here. Xerath's usually picked with a couple of traditional tanks, a Malphite, a Cho'Gath, just because obviously if the enemy team can get onto the Xerath, he has a bad time being CC'd. He just wants to be at the back using his long range. And to be fair, they don't have traditional tanks on the enemy side either, but he's going to eat a lot of damage if he ever uses his root, right? Because he's going to deal with potential for long range damage from multiple members, and of course Elise being able to close distance. I can see why they've gone for it, but neither team really has a true frontline.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of poking, a lot of Ryze tanking, I guess, for Hebuska and friends, and I guess on the other side, just a lot of AoE control. From the last game, this comp is very similar to the one that FIGJAM ran to great success in their first game here in this series. And I think it's weird, but they've almost been like, we don't need a frontline, because they're literally killing people from thousands of range away, 1,000 plus. So it seems like they're just happy with all the control, all the CC they get. And they'll just, if they play really well, they don't necessarily need a frontline if they can just pick people off. So maybe they're just like, you know what, we don't really need a tank anymore. Let's screw it.
Look, it's definitely a viable decision. It's just, they don't have the box to keep people in place for the Equalizer, for example. They do have the Stranglethorn. It doesn't have quite the same cast range.
No,
potential for a Cocoon and some Lux CC, but it's not the guarantee that Thresh always is. When Thresh hits a hook and Rumble's on the team, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, Stranglethorns does work well with the Equalizer, but it kind of works the other way. You have to equalize.
It's more of a
first
counter-initiate for Tristana rather than a helpful initiate for Rumble.
Yeah, fair. So, not nearly as good as the box is, I think, the answer there, which I absolutely agree with. Double AP, both teams actually have double AP. I do like the Lux Rumble combo. I like that they're running it again. Clearly it works very well for them in the first game, so it's not too surprised to see it again. I guess it seems like Hebuska and friends have decided that they also want to run double AP, but you're right that not having a frontline is a little weird. Now, it kind of makes sense for me for FIGJAM, but I don't know if it makes as much sense for me for Hebuska and friends. And if
Ryze is the big wild card
here,
right? If we get the 24-minute Ryze we've been talking about, where he can just wade in, eat all the CC and damage, and just put out consistent damage, then that's fine. He'll be the basically sole frontline, with Nunu kind of helping out. But it's kind of all in on Ryze when it comes to a frontline for Hebuska and friends.
Yeah, Nunu in the jungle probably going to get a little tankier, but still definitely more of a support utility champion. And Varus is kind of an interesting carry to support in this instance. Normally when we see Nunu in the jungle and another support, and Sona's definitely a fine support in her own right, it's usually you kind of build your own Super Saiyan carry. I was calling it yesterday and today. And Varus is a fine carry, but he's not on the level of, say, Caitlyn in that sort of situation, or a hyper carry that you just make even better. I do like Varus' ult in this particular comp because, again, they don't really have a way to break through or get someone in there or initiate. So they're going to rely on Chain of Corruption a little for both engage and disengage potentially. And both these teams, I think, when double AP was the standard all the way back in Season 1, the thing that really set aside good double AP teams and not good ones, and that decided matches in that metagame was who's better at hitting their CC first, essentially. And there's going to be a lot of that this game, I think, that if one CC lands on a member and the rest of them can follow up, then someone's probably just going to get wiped off the face of the team fight, and then it'll be a pretty easy 4v5 from there. So really interesting to see two reasonably similar comps, and I kind of be curious to see how they all weighed out. But if FIGJAM were comfortable with their comp last game, I have to think they're very comfortable with this one again.
Varus has seen a lot of play in all scenes, specifically Europe and China, mainly because divers are in vogue right now. The Zeds of the world, the Kazakhs of the world, until obviously the recent patch, but still people who get into melee range, and Zed and Varus has so many tools to deal with people trying to get on top of him. He's got 2 CCs that can disengage, you take the barrier as well. He's a very safe champion, but against long range damage, his advantages don't really come as clear in this comp. If the enemy team has, if Elise is going to get very strong and try and dive on Varus, Varus will feel like a great pick. But his tools don't really help him deal with Rumble or Lux damage.
Yeah, and his little extra range that he gets, that 25 extra, usually helps in a lot of straight up standard AD carry matches. Obviously, in lane early on, it'll be fine, but Varus kind of team fights at a really awkward range, and you're right in that he feels safe, even though he has no inherent escapes, just because he's got some good CC and he's got a little bit of extra range. That's not going to matter in this game when he's getting sniped by Lux Rumble ults, so... It is curious. I mean, I think his ult has a lot of value in this comp. I mean, I guess for me, the most interesting thing is FIGJAM, we've seen this from them before, more or less. This is kind of a variation on a theme. It feels like Hebuska and friends are picking a similar comp, but we've not seen them play it before. So, we kind of have results on one end, even though it's only one game, but not really on the other side. So I'm curious to see if this is something Hebuska and friends really like, or if they're just being like, that was really good what you did. Let's try and do it in our own way.
If I was to rate the comps, I'd say that FIGJAM's comp is... not as good at AoE team fighting, but better at peeling for Tristana, just because so much peel available from Zyra for an AD carry, let alone all the other tools they have. So that's a good thing, but that does put more chips into Blue 9-0 than they maybe had in the previous game. I mean, he played fantastically, so maybe that's fine. At least there's more consistency on the Hebuska and friends lineup here. If the Rise gets going, it can be really good. If they're winning, I think a lot of their things will line up. If you're using Chain of Corruptions aggressively, if you're flash crescendoing as Charlie, then I think things could go very well for them. But again, we see aggressive posturing once more from FIGJAM.
Yeah, really nice ward from Hebuska and friends. They're warding their own blue. They've actually warded the entrance in mid as well, just that bit of brush, and maybe rotating over now to the enemy blue. I mean, they know what's up. They have a ward in there. Oh, the pink again. Same trick. Almost feels like a bit of fool me once, fool me twice. That was, again, just a very solid pink ward there from Cocaine. And I have a funny feeling that they are reacting to it, but Hebuska and friends probably don't want to lose their blue again for a second time in a row. So they are going to actually look to fight here, but not having vision in this situation is pretty scary.
They have to commit all 5 members and get something out of it, otherwise they'll just lose in terms of experience up top.
The Volatile Spitling was a nice little scout as well. Guy's going to check the brush there. Finds no one. I think that makes you feel more worried. Nice ward. In fact, they're going to get Cocaine over the top. A little bit of damage there at nice long range. They're coming out with that Q. And a light binding there as they back away. I think they're going to successfully defend here. They did lose 2 wards, unfortunately. But they might just be able to give Nunu his blue. And nice ward there from Charlie as well. Just towards the entrance of the blue buff, making sure no one comes in. And looks like
it looks like Rise won't lose too much from this exchange. Rumble took the longest way just to check on blue, so should be a fairly equal start. So I guess success from Hebuska and friends. That's what they really wanted to defend their blue, and they were successful.
I have to ask, is Hebuska even on his team, Hebuska and friends?
He's the manager, I believe.
There we go. That makes sense. I was wondering. I was
a noted community member, if you're not aware of that.
Yeah, I thought he might have. Yeah, I'm like, did he playing under a Smurf? No, that would make sense. Though. That would be quite hilarious for Hebuska, as you said, a very well-known person in the Oceanic scene, to have a team but just not be involved in it at all. Just people decide to name it after.
Or it'd be a hilarious name for someone without even talking to Hebuska to name your team.
That would be good also. In fact, that seems like value. Maybe I should do that. Anyway, now that we've got that out of the way, Wombalicious with the double buffs, happily blood boiling away. There's a ward as well. Didn't need too many potions, which is nice. Actually, might look for... Ooh, can't find the blue buff, unfortunately. I think they had a ward there, but too late, unfortunately. Womba really wanted to steal it, but Consumer's a very short range and couldn't make it in time for the blue. But he will be here for this gank, though. Ooh, wards it up as well. We're going to see Elise. Elise looking to go for it. Wants the Cocoon. Almost finds it. Great juke there from Porky. And there's the snowball coming out from Womba. But sadly, Jungle Elise gank's a little bit better than Jungle Nunu, and that is kind of the thing about Elise, which I haven't talked about yet. Nunu, pretty good jungler, very good counter jungle, obviously. Now, I think with the changes, clears the jungle a little bit more adequately than he used to, because he was a little too single target focused now, which kind of favors him a little more in this jungle. Elise, not the best jungler, very, very good at ganking.
Yeah, and I mean, Nunu's ganks are very good, but only in kind of a persistent case. You know, it's all about, I know I'm not going to kill you, but I'm just going to come around and snowball you again and again until you're running out of pots, for example. Like, it's an attrition thing.
Yeah,
as we see again here, here's Womba.
Yeah, it's a pressure thing, which we were talking about yesterday when we saw Nunu. Absolutely, you're able to put so much pressure, and you duck in and out of a lane 5 times, you're doing a couple of camps in between. You know, the 6th time, they're probably not going to think, oh, he's surely not coming again. And that's all it takes, a couple of snowballs, a little bit of damage, and eventually you just overextend too far, thinking, hey, he's going to be that bad down the bottom.
So much damage down bottom lane, but it looks like he will survive.
So, nice aggressive little...
You haven't mentioned this, he has the Ignite wake up this contest time.
Uh-oh, Rusty's in trouble again. Blue Nine's come in, and there's first blood for Lux. Tashford picks that one up on Malicious, sadly. Can't help too much there in that one. Does wander in, but at least, blows that flash early for Rusty and then just comes in a second time. And certainly with teleport, Rusty's even more vulnerable. He's got no battle summoners to try and get a trade out or something like, I don't know, maybe barrier to try and save him. Once that flash is gone, he's basically done. And Elise finally comes through a second time and managed to get that gank. So nice play there.
Hebuska and friends, winning bottom lane here. You'll know, as I was mentioning, Ignite pickup on Tristan is very interesting. Obviously, it gives her more burst, but you almost never see AD carries take Ignite. Sometimes we see the support take Ignite for lane control, but AD carries taking Ignite is almost a thing of the past at this point.
I guess.
Look, he's paying for it in CS. He's 19 CS behind, only at the 5-minute mark.
Yeah, and given how well Blue Knight Zero played last game, that is a little surprising. I mean, I think Ignite is almost it's almost an overconfidence thing, right? It's like, I really like being aggressive. I want to be aggressive in this lane. And I'm playing an aggressive AD carry like Tristana. As the mid-hit trash boat could be in trouble. Nice pressure there from Wombo, almost getting Lux down, but not quite enough damage, unfortunately, to finish it off. And Rusty just got to go back and continue farming here. So good attempt there from Wombo to even up the mid lane. Definitely something he needs to be doing after Elise's swung through twice, one with a successful gank after blowing that flash. And bottom lane left here as well for Hebuska and friends. So a little bit more room here to farm up, and now Wombo's going to wander down.
Nunu's gonna Nunu.
He is indeed gonna Nunu, and he comes in now. Ooh, Cocaine. What about recalling? Not so good there. Rocket Jump's probably gonna happen. There it is, the slow coming out. Good roots there coming up from Zara, and in fact doesn't even need to use the W. Saves the mana, just walks out of there. Cocaine, who was recalling previously, is gonna go ahead and recall anyway. Guessing she needs a couple more wards.
Worth noting that
Rusty
put in to consume. Oh wow, is there something happening in there?
I think Cocoon's going to come out again. It's really hard for Rusty to dodge it. He doesn't have flash this time either. He does manage to kind of juke around it all, but he kind of has to walk an awkward way, and that's going to be yet another kill for Trash Boat. And that was really clever there from
There's
Blue
a double
90.
ward down pastry time, and a triple ward now at this point, and they're still getting successful ganks off.
Yeah, he at least lane gank and then repelled onto a minion, and then Venom's bite into Rusty. It's just like, this sucks. And Flash now coming back off cooldown is a very nicely timed gank there for Elise, who's kind of picking on Zerath, who is, to be fair, mid lane is definitely susceptible to ganks like that, because you, again, have no innate escapes. Once your flash is down, you're done. Top lane, Porky going to go down to Riolo in a 1v1.
Yeah, I was about to say Porky's the one that was done there. He, the Equalizer came out, did a bit of damage, and Flash to finish it off.
And Rumble, you caught him a bully last game. Didn't get to see it because we had a couple 1v2s, but poor Rise there. I mean, we've talked about top lane Rise. I think, for me, I love it. I think it's great that it exists, but Rise is, as often the case with just Rise, he needs to get going before he really does anything. And top can be a little volatile for him, even more so than someone like mid down the bottom. Actually, massive trades there. Charlie doing damage to Cocaine, but a good exhaust coming out as well. The Zara plant damage a little too much, but a great barrier there from Chopper. Completely outplays the Blue 9-0, but the Ignite's enough to get the kill. And now I think Charlie's probably going to die here as well, unfortunately, too, Elise. Zara staying at distance, trying to pick up an assist, but Elise happy to finish stuff. Teleport coming through now as well. Rusty going to try and make the difference. Does save the teammate Womba coming in there as well to try and get a snowball to set up that kill. And nice teleport there from Rusty to protect his teammates. Going to be able to push a little here too, potentially. But I mean, that Ignite should not have been that good, but it was. Blue 9-0 lucky to get the
question
trade there.
is the teleport worth it to keep a support alive?
I think it's, questionable.
Wombalicious here, getting dueled. He's actually being out-leveled by an Elise, which is a bad spot for him.
After all, repel. Never mind, flight binding. It was a nice flash, but it was a nice repel as well.
The Elise mechanics really coming out here.
Very much so. I mean, you're right, it sucks as Nunu to get out-leveled by someone like Elise. Oh, Cocoon coming out there as well. Rusty could actually die here. Flight binding not quite ready. Does miss, actually. Activates his ultimate, trying to outplay. Good stun there coming out as well. Arcane Barrage not quite enough. Does get the trade there. Elise takes a few too many tower hits with that repel. But I mean, at least just kill after kill after kill, it seems like. And yes, you're right. Nunu should not be behind, but all those kills are giving at least an absolute massive spike of experience. And that's what she needs.
I always talk about the favorable Rise matchups. I don't know if Rumble's one of them, because it feels like before he gets that Catalyst, he can just burn through his health bar in one rotation.
I mean, I'm not super updated on my Rise matchups, but it feels like Rise in general just needs to get going. And then he kind of, he gets to a point where he's like, yeah,
well, if he wins trades and if he's ranged against a melee champion, then it feels great to be Rise. But and that is the case up top. Rumble is technically a melee champion, but the ability to control the wave with AoE pushing, which Rise doesn't have access to level 6, and then the kill potential after 6 is very strong.
Yeah, Rumble's not quite a lane bully for nothing. Rise here is just kind of trying to get as much farm as he can. Porky obviously lost the first 1v1, so subsequent one's probably not going to get better. Knock up there on Chopper, good ult though, but it's not quite enough. The heal in there from Sona might be though. Great question, who just misses Blue 9-0, who rocket jumps in. That was a couple of pixels to the right there. being an absolutely amazing center ultimate, but the rocket jump a little too far forward there, and unfortunately Chuffer will go down. Charlie 101 can't feel too bad. They did everything he could and was just a little off there actually saving poor Varus. But again, I mean, Elise has been romping through, and now the bottom lane, who seemed like was having issues in the very early stages here for FIGJAM, is just in control again.
It's just the game's been played on Elise's pace so far, basically, and she's involved in 4 kills. I mean, there's been some other shenanigans down bottom lane, but Elise has been making things happen, and Nunu hasn't, which has been the big difference between the teams.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Nunu doesn't really...
The Equalizer comes down. As I said, full health was Rise before that.
He managed to live through this Ignite. Yeah, Riola, I think, may have overheated.
Overheating on your scrap shield. That's always the most embarrassing thing as a Rumble.
That is.
When you know that you made a slight misplay.
That is the awkwards, correct. There's a Flame Spitter or Electro harping away. I don't think it was quite in range for an auto attack, so yeah. I think he overhit. I could be wrong, but that's what it looked like anyway. Maybe it's just a cooldown issue. But regardless, another 1v1 almost there. Porky managed to get out of that one alive. Blurry 90 down here. I mean, not afraid at all. Actually jumping straight into Sona. Gonna look for the stun. Looks for it on Chopper, but a decent juke. Voltas butting the roots hit though, and just Tristana straight in. Absolute no fear. Tristana's like, yep, that's mine. And Elise grabs it there with red buff, I believe. And now Dragon potentially as well. At least not the best Dragon doer. It's Trash right here in the mid. Could find himself in trouble here. Wombalicious going to come in. Just see the mage hand. Good absolute zero. Loses singularity coming up, but a nice stun. The barrier though. As Arcane Barrage comes down. That's going to be a nice kill for Killer. Dodging the final spark as well. And a Wombalicious is going to pick up that one there. Very nice dukes from Rusty to make sure he didn't take too much damage in that exchange and trade. And a nice tank there from Womba, but Dragon does go down. And unfortunately, FIGJAM here still very firmly in the lead, as Chuffer seems like he's having a couple of problems with his net.
So we have the slight pause here as Chuffer has disconnected.
I mean, Elise obviously doing work there in the mid lane. Bottom lane was a little touchy, but seems like they've got control down here, do FIGJAM. And top lane obviously going nasty there for Rumble as well. If you're Hebuska and friends, what do you do? Because it feels like either of these team comps, if they get too far behind, are just going to get snowballed on. There's so much AP damage, and one CC can lead to a kill very quickly. And if you out damage your opponent in that situation, you're always going to come out ahead. Like, it's not like I just don't feel like Hebuska and friends have like a super late game, except maybe Rise, that they can really call to here. Just because, again, it seems like we've got two similar teams set up here. So for me, that says okay, whichever one gets ahead first is probably going to be able to take it.
I think there's a lot of commonalities between Xerath and Lux late game. You know, they're both very good at sieging. They also provide CC. They're good team fighters. And look, Rusty's taking the teleport. The first time was just done to protect the support. The next teleport might have to be the big playmaker, because if they can take advantage of that and swing the pendulum in one of their lanes, I mean, Rusty's really had a hard time in mid lane. He had been camped by the Elise, but he still has access to that teleport in about a minute's time, and that might be the turning point to try and force something with it.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of alluded to it earlier, but sadly Xerath, quite a campable champion. That's because, much like, I guess, Cassiopeia, lots of front load damage, good range, but no inherent escape at all in other mids that makes him quite so popular, and not like randomly tanky like someone like Diana as well. So yeah, definitely Elise preying on there. I mean, Elise has to. She's definitely a ganking-oriented jungler. Doesn't jungle all that well, but you can see that the fact that Blurry 90's a level ahead still, it seems like, of Nunu, that Elise has definitely had a good game here. Just been involved in so many kills. In fact, 5 of the total 8 that her team has gotten, she's been involved in. So got a nice big boost of experience there. And if your ganks are working as Elise, that's very, very good news for you, because you would rather be ganking the people than the minions.
And Rise, for all his troubles, he has got his core items down. He has the Catalyst and the Tier. He'll try and stack that. But, Rumble's built for the lane and for the team fights. He does have access to this massive amount of magic penetration already. And he's going to have the flexibility to build what he wants, because he does not need to build for the lane.
Yeah, he's done now. He's got what he needs. I mean, so does Rise, as you said. For me, whenever I see Rise, these two items, the Catalyst plus the Tier, that's sort of like, that's the start of Rise, Rise.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like, I guess if you talk about ignition energy, the energy you need to put in order for reaction to happen. Once you put these items into Rise, he's good to go now. Oh goodness, my mouse is doing funny things. Never mind, we fixed it. Gotta make sure I'm up to speed, as it were.
Milo Noma comes to pick up. It's a good first pickup on Xerath. 40% CDR is kind of his catalyst tier when it comes to his core, because 40% CDR just means that you are the siege king. It's like old Gragas in terms of you can use your ult to siege someone off a turret, and it'll be back up again in 36 seconds.
Yeah. It's good times. Pink wards here being thrown down towards Dragon as well.
Elise is not going the carry build here. In fact, she's trying to be the front line here. The Aegis rush, no doubt, into a Runic Bulwark rush. So we're going to see the utility Elise here. Probably a locket or other tanky items to follow up the Runic Bulwark.
Yeah, I think it's not like the prettiest build on Elise, but if someone has to do it, you might as well. I mean, she's got the gold, and the earlier you get your Aegis, the better. Trash mode here, getting stunned up by the Mage. There's Arcane Barrage in there as well. Wombalicious trying to take a couple extra tower hits. Elise now on top of there as well. Final Spark will clean up Nunu there, and Cocoon almost nicks Rusty as well for the follow-up. I mean, despite the Aegis, Elise definitely does a lot of damage. Just with skills down the bottom lane, we've got trouble everywhere. Chopper, again with the barrier. Cocaine trying to get in there with a play. Does get one. Blue 9-0 though, quite low, but Charlie 1-1 can't quite make it. One auto, not enough. Not in range for the Q either, and no power cord. Means that FIGJAM steal a kill away there, it feels like, in bottom lane.
I'm not sure if Charlie's ult was up that whole time, but it's up now.
It looks down to me. It seems like he just used a trash mode here, by the way. Looking to play janitor.
That could just be a spectator bug, fair enough.
It could be, yeah. I'm not exactly sure. I think
I did just fast forward.
Charlie seems unhappy, and there will be a kill. Actually, Zyra picks
Charlie
that one
accepts
up.
his fate.
It seems like, yeah. Once Lux is there, you're not really getting out of the way, and no flash up either to try and make a play and juke a light binding. Yeah, sorry if you're slightly behind. Tricky old pauses.
No, I am at live now.
Good times. So yeah, I do like
the importance of the Aegis pickup here. He's actually gone Aegis over the Spirit of the Ancient Golem or the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, depending on which one he'll go down the route of. And that just shows that they're looking to group soon, because of course it does give cost-effective stats for himself, but you basically build Aegis to win a team fight. They already have Rumble, which is one insurance to winning early team fights, and Aegis, I mean, the other Aegis is going to be a long way delayed compared to Elise's.
Yeah, I mean, Wombalicious as a comparison. He does have Emblem Ruby Crystal, so he's definitely building towards it. Trying to be that support style jungler. But, Womba's not had nearly as much fun as
and the Bulwark already completed at 13 minutes.
That is fairly speedy. That is to say very. Nunu down the bottom trying to camp it up here. I mean, even without the team fights, which I agree they should try and force something, they're likely going to force some skirmishes anyway. And even in this situation down the bottom lane, 3v3, having a Runic Bulwark completed in a 3v3 situation where it's 2v2 and both junglers gank is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, the amount of free stats you're giving your team at that point in that little exchange, even without a full-on 5v5 team fight, is just silliness. And if they are just even going to push here, that Bulwark's going to go a long way to keep making them win. I mean, it even actually helps push now because it actually buffs the minions.
It's true. Half bonus to minions from memory.
Delicious minions. They need love too. What's that blue steel going to happen?
I mean, it's no Banner of Command at base return.
Banner of Command is probably the sweetest item, but we'll take it. Oh yes, but we'll take it. We'll take what we can get here. Aegis on the minions does help in some small way, which is certainly not irrelevant. And Tristana, to me, I mean, we often quote Caitlyn as a Queen of Siege, and I don't think anyone will ever dethrone her in that respect. Tristana as a Siege champion is very interesting, because obviously her range consistently stays high once you get to a certain point.
She just needs to get more auto attacks off, and she doesn't have instant wave clear like the Beastmaker, but here we go.
But it gets cocooned up, Stranglethorn's in as well. So much damage in there, and Trash Boat cleans it up. Astona goes down. Final Spark through there does an obscene amount of damage to those carries, and Bluey 90 coming in there as well. Almost picks up Rusty. One more auto needed, but could not get there in range. That was a lot of damage dealt by Trash Boat's ult there. And that's going to clean up the tower here. One kill on Stoner's enough. Crescendo a little too early there by Charlie. And just 4-man push going to happen. Rumble's still happy just to tie up Rise here. I mean, if Rise is the savior potentially for Hebuska and friends here, we're always happy to stay here and just keep Rise at bay, if not kill him against solo, because he is still ahead of that Rise, and he's happily enjoying the farm he's got there. Looks like Tier 2 is going to fall down here as well on the bottom lane. There's just nothing they can really do. And this is before Tristana goes and buys whatever major item she's now finished. That's Bilgewater Double Dagger was what she had. Wombalicious getting caught up there as well. Not quite the final spark, I don't think. The hitbox was a little off there. Rusty trying to get in there but gets lightbound as Chain of Corruption comes in. I have a funny feeling Lux's ult missed, which is not something that happens all that often, but Wombalicious got to be happy about that. Because I believe he lived as a result. We do have another pause, unfortunately. I have a funny feeling someone's internet isn't all that...
Chuffer's internet seems to be suffering here.
Ah, I see. That is unfortunate. But I mean, I guess I can... Oh no, I think my mouse disappeared. I can't quite tab over to the gold, unfortunately. Wait, maybe I can. Oh, I can. I've got it. I did it. It's 1,800 gold on Trist right now.
So she will have the Blade of the Ruin King and the start of whatever she wants.
Yeah, maybe a pickaxe if she wants to go towards Infinity Edge, or I guess Lost Whisper maybe, but I doubt it. And just the general gold values in this game, you can see 27.5 to 18.5. That is quite the difference here. And the kills definitely a little worse off for Hebuska and friends than they were last game. They were definitely a lot closer, but still the same sort of metric here is all those objectives. That one dragon, I believe, possibly even two have already gone down, and 4-0 in turrets is never a position you really want to be in, as we are going to have the unpause here. Hopefully Chuffer's internet has got itself back to an acceptable point. As we go through hyperspeed just a little here to catch up to life, and there we are. But yeah,
I'm back at live now, so I mean the interesting thing is after all that Rumble and Rise, just chilling in top lane for that whole massive exchange down bottom.
Yeah, and I mean, as I said, I think that's a position Riolu is totally happy with. He's happily farming here compared to CS Last Rise. He's 40 up actually, so clearly having a fun time up there. Just gonna go back, get another item. Leandri's again. He even has a spare app tome, because why not? Again, the aggressive Rumble build. And Riolu can just take this build and just go fight Rise. And there's not a whole lot Rise can do, I don't think. Even if they don't team fight and use Rumble's, very big spike in power in terms of damage output, especially when it comes to that ultimate.
They're wandering over towards Dragon now, and clearly with that pickup, the worst Dragon ever to compete with for Hebuska and friends.
What you said last game about contesting Dragons against Rumble, I guess still holds true here.
Well, especially when he has a 17-minute Leandri's Torment, don't even... Just stay on the top side of the map, you're okay.
Not even once? Rumble, not even once. Porky here, gonna try it though. Maybe we should have thought about that one. Blue 9-0 in there as well. Riolu gets the kill there as Blue 90 piles on top. Final spark, obscene damage there as Cocaine picks up the kill. Support Zara doing his work there. Wombalicious as well. Nowhere to wrong with that equalizer behind him. And I mean, you said it. Don't fight the Rumble, Papa. Look what happened.
It's not just Rumble though, FIGJAM. I mean, all of FIGJAM is super strong here, and they're on the same page. They're playing with a lot of aggression. They're following in with their teammates. It's not a case of Elise repelling in and the rest of the team not knowing what to do. It's clear the calls are down very strong, and FIGJAM are looking like a scary, scary team.
Yeah, I mean, even someone like Tristana, who, oh my goodness, Trash Rat might get picked off there. Does there. Nice work there from Chuffer and Charlie to get in there. Blue Knives are so aggressive over the top. Has to pick up Charlie and does. Wants a little more, but he's going to get killed here. So bonus gold going to Varus. Not the worst thing ever as he picks up a double. So a little too aggressive there on that one.
A lot too aggressive.
As we praise their aggression, which has certainly been paying off this game and the last game. That was a little too deep. But that will close the gap a little bit. Still 10,000 plus up here as Riolu's going to get slowed up here. Lots of slows. Halo Varus coming in. Snowball's in there as well. Cocaine off to the side there. Good roots there. Picks up both Porky and Wombalicious. Riolu's going to get back to the safety of his turret here. We might have a bit of a push out from Hebuska and friends, but big gold lead here. Big objective lead for FIGJAM. I actually have a funny feeling that Xerath is hunting with Zyra. Yes, that is what's happening up in the top lane. Cocaine very low on mana. Rusty full mana. If he doesn't get this kill, I think he'll be upset with himself. Arcane Barrage coming in. Snipe, snipe, snipe. Oh, not quite. But the minion might just pick it up. And there's enough. Picks it up there. Actually, a shutdown onto that support Zyra. So picks up a bit of bonus gold, which is always nice.
Gotta say, Cocaine's Snowball is on support. It's quite impressive. Oh my god, he has a Leandri's Torment on support Zyra.
I just looked down and saw
Who
the
needs a
same thing.
Sightstone?
Yeah, I mean, maybe Rumble should have gone Equalizer. Charlie 101. Power of Rumble up there.
Once again, he was like, where to run?
Didn't have flash, nowhere to go. And that to me demonstrates the very pure power of the Equalizer. It's such an incredible long range initiation if you need it. Or, defensive ability if you need it too. In fact, Blurry 90 here gonna fight up Porky the same level here as Riolu's gonna make it completely unfair. And just clean up another kill for himself for a killing spree. 3-0-3 now is Mr. Rumble. And he can't be complaining about that at all. Trashbird here gonna get slowed up. Womba thinking about it. But no one else really around. Lux knows she can run to the safety of Tristana if needed. Just, by the way, doing a bit of counter jungling here. Doing her best Nunu impression. Picks up the blue buff here. Almost got Infinity Edge once again. Blade of the Ruin King already finished up. And I mean, just... This is reckless play from FIGJAM. They're just farming every lane that they can. Wondering wherever they want. But I mean, they are this far ahead. And looks like Chuffer's internet is also getting the better of him again, unfortunately, because I believe he did just disconnect.
The surrender vote comes out though, FIGJAM. That's it.
That is it. A bit of anticlimactic end, but a great play there from FIGJAM in both those games. And I guess the game wasn't going so well even before Travis Internet decided to kick itself out from under him, I should say. It wasn't going well. So I guess with all those troubles and being so far down there, I'm just going to accept defeat there. 2-0 victory there for FIGJAM as they get themselves into the top 16 and into the finals in a very tough bracket, I might add. But that was winning with style there for FIGJAM. Just playing a very similar comp both games to absolute perfection, it almost felt like.
Yeah, and look, that's the end of the journey for Hebuska and friends. Clearly, they played well up to now, and it just felt like they never got their comps going in a way that they could really compete. I mean, FIGJAM just looked practiced. They knew what they were doing. Their shot calls were strong. I mean, they had too much aggression, but that wasn't just one person with the rest of the team being passive. They were all being far too aggressive, and that following up your team is such an important skill there.
Yeah, it really is, and at the end of the day, FIGJAM just knew what they needed to do, got in there with the aggression, and kind of almost a Moscow 5 Gambit Gaming sort of thing, right? It's like, see hero, kill hero. They found somebody, and everybody just piles in, knows exactly what they need to do, and that's all going at once. So, just let you know, we will have an interview coming up with Trashboat, the mid laner of FIGJAM. That'll be coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll take a quick commercial break, grab whatever you need, guys, and then after the interview, of course, we'll take another short break, and then the final will be happening, and I can actually tell you what the final is. Maybe I should wait. Should we wait, Papa?
We'll give them something to look forward to.
Okay, sure. We'll give you guys something to look forward to. We'll keep it a secret just for now. But we did take a look at the brackets last night, trying to line up the schedule a little better for you all. We did look. We saw the bracket and we said if these two teams make it, I think we're going to have a fantastic finals. And I can tell you, both those teams made it through. So we'll be back, guys. Quick break. We're going to have an interview with the winner here. Trashboat from FIGJAM will be joining us here for a short interview. If you have any questions at all, feel free to send them in the chat. Or maybe a little bit cleaner, tweet them to either myself or Papa Smithy with the hashtag OCLLOL, just so we can identify them. And if you get a couple cool questions, we'll pass them on. Otherwise, we'll be back with the interview in a couple minutes as we take a break. And we'll take another quick break, and then we'll be back with the last best 3 of the day, guys, as we follow our final match in the finals here to see, hey, moving towards top 16, who's going to get a good seed. We'll be back soon, guys. Stay tuned.